How's it going, Misfits family, here on a beautiful Wednesday? I'm your host, Jude Reynolds Ocanas, and welcome to another edition of the Reynolds Sports Report. And you see I got a little bit of a haircut. I'm cleaning myself up a little. You know, it's midway through the summer, and with such long hair, let's be real, you got to cut it off. You got to let the hair go, especially in this heat. It's only getting warmer here in Los Angeles. And being outside for my job, I need to stay cool. But what else is coming up soon is the NFL season. And boy, am I excited, because this month, July 31st, we have our first NFL game of the 2025-2026 season. Now, it's not an official game. It's the Hall of Fame game. It's the Detroit Lions taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. But you know what? It's football. Football's in the air. We're less than 60 days away from the NFL season. And boy, am I excited. There's obviously the NBA is a ton of fun. The MLB is going on. But nothing can top just the sound of that Sunday night track when the first Thursday plays. And, you know, my Dallas Cowboys are going to be on a season opener versus the Philadelphia Eagles. So you can pray for me. But I'm excited because, you know, since I've started the show, the NFL season obviously hasn't been taking place. It's kind of been in the dead spot of the NFL. But that's my bread and butter. That's what I do best. That's what I talk best. And so I'm excited. So let's start with this. And I'm not going to go into a full divisional breakdown. I will trickle that in, I should say, as this season, ramps up and we get closer to preseason. We get closer to the NFL season, which truly is 57 days away. It's crazy to even think about that. But let's start with a hot topic, because who doesn't like hot topics? And especially when we talk NFL quarterbacks. So Randy Moss on Sunday tweeted something saying, me and my son and I are at lunch. We're picking the top 5 quarterbacks. He said right now, Mahomes, Jackson, Allen, Burrow. But who's number 5? So I thought, you know what, there's no better topic than to discuss on the Misfits with you guys. Who is the 5th best quarterback heading into the 2025 season? So like you already named, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Joe Burrow. That's solidified 4. You could put it any way you want, right? I think Mahomes is still number 1 for what he does year in and year out. I'm going to put probably Lamar Jackson at number 2. I just think Lamar Jackson overall as a player compared to Josh Allen is better. No hate to Josh Allen. Josh Allen at 3 since he's coming off an MVP season, and 4, Joe Burrow. But you have to remember, honestly, at this point, as great as Mahomes is, that 2, 3, 4, there's not a lot of difference. There's really not. I mean, those guys are the upper echelon of upper echelon type of NFL quarterbacks. But it got me thinking, who really is number 5? Now, there's obviously, you can throw out the names like, there's names you could throw out, right? There's names you could throw out, but I've really boiled it down to 2 quarterbacks, and both which are actually in the same division, the NFC East. Fortunately, I'm not talking about Dak Prescott. I'm talking about Jaden Daniels and Jalen Hurts. Now, there's cases for both sides, right? And we'll start with Jalen Hurts, right? The Philadelphia Eagles quarterback coming off a Super Bowl MVP season, a Super Bowl championship season. He's a 2-time All-Pro. In his 2025 year, he threw for 2,903 yards. He had 18 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He was actually sacked 38 times and had 4 game-winning drives. Also had, 630 rushing yards and 14 rushing touchdowns. And we know primarily a lot of those rushing touchdowns came from the now infamous tush push. And in the playoffs, he actually was tied for first in passing touchdowns with 5. He only threw 1 interception and a 71.4 completion percentage, throwing just over 700 yards. So Jalen Hurts' case is he's coming off a Super Bowl championship with the Philadelphia Eagles, who I would say for the most part dominated their way to the Super Bowl, right? Beat the Rams, beat Washington. Those are the 2 teams they had to take care of business, right? In the cold weather against the Rams, in Philly, took care of business. And then against, the surprise Washington Commanders in the NFC Championship game, they looked like the Washington had no answer in that second half for the Philadelphia Eagles offense. The reason I start with Jalen Hurts is because he's not number 5 for me. He's not. And I think Jalen Hurts is a great quarterback. And I think, to be fair, and this is what I will say about Jalen Hurts, he has every year improved as a passer, right? Only had 5 interceptions this year, had 18 touchdowns. His completion percentage was 68.7%. But you look at a guy from when he was playing in his Oklahoma days, with Lincoln Riley, or when he was in Alabama with Nick Saban, he was a primarily rushing quarterback, right? He got benched in the national championship because he was that horrid at passing. Obviously came back and was able to win the next year. But I guess what I'm trying to get to is I think there are elements around Jalen Hurts. And I know this is an argument that some people like, some people don't, but there are certainly elements around Jalen Hurts that have helped his career, and especially this season. He had a first-team All-Pro left tackle, first-team All-Pro right tackle, a first-team All-Pro running back and receiver. Look, I'm not saying that you could throw any quarterback in Jalen Hurts' situation and he's going to be a Super Bowl champion, a Super Bowl MVP, but that's a hell of a good start. And when you look at who really had more of an impact for that team, the Philadelphia Eagles team wasn't whole different between 2024 and 2025. Yeah, they added a few defense players, but Saquon Barkley was the difference. I mean, Saquon Barkley was the person that was getting MVP votes. There was a conversation to be had if Saquon Barkley should have won the MVP. And he certainly had a case. I mean, he certainly had a case. So that's why I have to hold Jalen Hurts at number 6. Because I think the 5th best quarterback heading into this 2025 season is Jayden Daniels. That's right. He's only been in the NFL for 1 year, and I think he's already a top 5 quarterback heading into the NFL. Why do I say that? He was Rookie of the Year. He undeniably turned around a Washington team that was piss poor the season before, just as a quarterback himself. Granted, Terry McLaurin obviously is a great weapon to have. Austin Eckler had a resurgence in Washington. But I don't think you could really throw a lot of other quarterbacks in that situation and do what Jayden Daniels did. He threw for 3,500 passing yards, had 25 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and in his first postseason appearance, he was first in pass yards. He had a 65.8 completion percentage, and was also tied first for 5 passing touchdowns. Jayden Daniels was special as a rookie. Now, this isn't, who's had the better career. This is just who is better heading into the 2025 season. And Jayden Daniels is the 5th best quarterback heading into the 2025 NFL season, simply because of just the magician he is and what he showed with Washington in just 1 year. I mean, his escapability was almost impossible to take down. He made insanely beautiful deep ball throws. And he was a game changer. He had 4 game-winning drives as a rookie. And this is not with an all-pro type of defense. He was doing this where he had to score 40 a game. So I don't think that, look, Jalen Hurts is one hell of a quarterback. But Jayden Daniels is special. And I know we said the same thing about Justin Herbert when he had his, Rookie of the Year season. He was special too. And look, Herbert's obviously been dealing with injuries. The Chargers, Brandon Staley for the longest time just didn't want to win ball games as the head coach. But I think we have to give love to Jayden Daniels because of just what he's done in 1 year. And a Washington team that is only going to seemingly get better. They got Laramie Tunsil now. They got a left tackle who's now going to be on the blind side of Jayden Daniels. They're building a roster around Jayden Daniels to now just say, no, we're not just trying to make it to the NFC Championship game. Because you know what? We already did that. So Jayden Daniels, he's the 5th best quarterback heading into the NFL season. I don't think there's a question about it. But just talking about the NFL season, man, what do I miss about it? Honestly, leave in the comments. I want to hear your guy. What do you miss about the NFL season? There's plenty of things I miss. And obviously the first thing is NFL Sunday. It's as easy as that. You wake up, and I'm on the West Coast. I know. But you wake up at 9:30 a.m. I know it's a little early for you East Coast heads, but you wake up, turn the TV on, you got football on from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. There's no better way to spend your day than watching football all day long. It is going to be an exciting season. We already see the talent that Jayden Daniels is. There's going to be so much talent. I wish I could say the similar things about my Cowboys who, look, let me hold myself. Okay. I've already shaved my head once for talking about the Dallas Cowboys, but I'm optimistic. It's not a championship team. I'm excited to see how the George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb duo works out. I'm excited about that because it's finally not finally. We've had Amari Cooper. But it's another opportunity to see how 2 playmakers worked well together. I'm excited about it. And, Schottenheimer, our head coach, seems pretty good. But like I said, we're also in a division now where the Eagles and the Commanders are serious threats. I also miss fantasy football. The people could tell you at the talk show that I'm part of at USC, I run that stuff. I run that stuff. And I could use another word, but I run that stuff. All right, I'm a back-to-back champion. But I think the reason I miss fantasy football so much is because there are just those days on a Monday night or like Monday at 4 p.m. right before the game is about to start, and you're like, I need my flex receiver or my tight end to score me 10 points to win this matchup of the week. I just need that. And you're locked in on a Monday night, hoping to God your guy gets a few more targets his way in the third quarter of a game. And when he does it, it's absolute bliss, especially if you're playing with your boys and you finally get to, go in the group chat and talk your smack. There's no better feeling. And that's why I'm excited for the NFL season to come back. Another reason, mid-November and December games are probably some of just the best games you get to experience. If it's your team or not, you're talking about America's game of the week, a Sunday night football game. At that time when the playoffs are encroaching, is your team going to make the wild card? Are they going to win the division? Like those little conversations that are being had, it sparks joy in my system. And I just can't wait. I really can't wait. And lastly, the Sunday night football intro. To be fair, that might be the thing that I'm most excited for in the NFL season, the Sunday night football intro. Like there is no better, and it's not the original crew of Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth that really hits from my childhood. But just hearing that, waiting all day for Sunday night, are we serious? Like it's already got me hyped. I'm ready. I'm ready to sit on my couch at 5 p.m., watch week 1 to week 18. I'm here. I'm ready. So the NFL season only 57 days away. Boy, am I excited. I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait for the fantasy drafts that we're going to have. We'll see. It's going to be a lot of fun. But talking about another football and talking about another sort of football on the pitch, that's the FIFA Club World Cup. The FIFA Club World Cup is finally coming to the conclusion with its final, which is set. It's PSG, it's Chelsea, the Premier League, I guess, Champion League qualification team and the champions of Europe. I don't mean to disrespect Chelsea. They're a good team, but I was trying to think of a way to, because, PSG, they're the champions of Europe. So I don't know really how I upshot that with Chelsea, the team that spent $2 billion on their roster, but that's for another conversation. So Chelsea defeated Fluminense 2-0 yesterday to move into the final, and PSG defeated Real Madrid 4-0 today to move into the final. And let's start with Chelsea, and then I'll get to PSG. Chelsea, to be honest, they haven't had the toughest schedule, but I'm also not using that as an argument against them because, to be fair, they had Man City, they had Inter Milan, they had all these teams in their bracket side. Those teams just couldn't pull it through. Man City lose to Al Hilal. You had Inter Milan lose to Palmeiras. Like those are games that probably the kings or what were kings of Europe should have won, but they didn't. So yeah, you can't blame Chelsea for how the positioning of the bracket goes. But Chelsea has looked really good. We saw João Pedro, their forward, make his first start, and he absolutely shined with 2 goals. So it was a good win. Look, Fluminense, I think to a point we saw where the Brazilian clubs, as good as they are tactically, and when you just come to the skill of the players, there is a difference. There is a difference, and you do see it in the final third. I think the final third and the midfield, obviously defense is a very important part, but I really love how you can really tell what a great team is and a good team with the midfield of how a team plays. And that leads to PSG. PSG, in every which way dominated Real Madrid today. And I think it is what PSG is about, is on the verge of doing. I'm not going to say they have done, but what is they on the verge of doing is, I know there is the Invincibles of Arsenal, and there's many great teams. There's teams that have won the treble. Man City just a couple years won the treble. But if they could do this here, this would be one of the greatest single seasons. I'm not going to say it's the greatest, but I'm going to say it's one of the greatest single seasons we have seen from a team. And in dominant fashion, too, may I add you. So PSG, like I just said, they defeated Real Madrid. They beat Bayern Munich and Inter Milan in the knockout stage to get to this point. And in the past 5 knockout games, including 3 FIFA World Cup, the Champions League final, and the Copa de France final, they have outscored opponents 18-0. 0. A big fat donut 0. So what PSG is on the verge of doing is they're not only going for the treble, which they've won the Champions League, Copa de France, and the Trophée des Champions. They're going for the quadruple. the FIFA Club World Cup. So I think PSG versus Chelsea is going to be a very fun game. But I have to say at the end of the day, and it's funny because I'm in a group chat with my buddy. He's a huge Chelsea fan. And he said, I hope to God Real Madrid wins. Because I think Real Madrid versus Chelsea would have been a lot better matchup if you're on the Chelsea side. Let's be real, guys. PSG. And here's the thing about PSG. They have played a full season, advanced to every final of their competition, won every final of the competition. And they are still fully pressing off goal kicks. Like that is the part to me that is wild. Like wild. I mean, they deserve so much credit for just, I think the stamina they've had through their season and now into the summer. And mind you, they're playing in MetLife. They're playing in New York on middle of July day with humidity and all. And they crush Real Madrid 4-0. This team has been unbelievable this year. And they have an opportunity to just put an exclamation mark on what has been pretty much a perfect season. If they can win on Sunday versus Chelsea, they can accomplish no more. But moving on, kind of wrapping here on a Thursday night. I thank you all for joining. I will give a brief. I know it's a Wednesday. I usually film on Monday, and I usually film on Thursday. Like I said, I work for this baseball team, the Canelo. It's been a ton of fun. Schedule kind of got changed around this week. We have a Wednesday off, and there's a lot more games and a lot more things I have to do off camera for them this week. And so I'm taking a little bit more of a break, having a break for myself. Look, it's still summer. I'm trying to have my fun. You know, I'm trying to, just as you guys would want to have your fun, I want to have my fun too. But I'm still here to talk ball with all of you joining here today, whether you're here live right now or you're listening to the recorded tape. I appreciate you guys all for listening. This is the Reynolds Sports Report. I am Jude Reynolds Ocanas. But we can't finish the Reynolds Sports Report without having Winner's Circle starting five of the week. And so I'll throw it back to the pitch where João Pedro, Chelsea's forward, scored 2 goals to take Chelsea to the FIFA Club World Cup in his starting debut to beat his boyhood club, Fluminense. Following up, Yannick Sinner defeated number 10 Ben Shelton in the quarterfinals in 3 sets to advance to the semifinals at Wimbledon. And he did this all on a banged up right elbow and still was able to sweep in 3 sets. Well, he'll be playing in the semifinals versus no other than Djokovic, which will be a great match on Friday. If you're on the West Coast, you got to set your alarm because that game is at 5 a.m. So just a warning, set your alarm. Number 3, we got Belinda Bencic, a Swiss tennis player who's ranked 35 currently, and she took down the number 7 tennis player, Mira Andreeva, in 2 sets to advance to the semifinals. Now, this is going to be her first appearance in a Wimbledon semifinal match, and it's also the first time she will be in a semifinals of a Grand Slam since having her child last April. So, she's a powerful woman and a powerful mother. And she's doing it all, and she's on the way to a semifinals matchup in 2 days. Or I should say tomorrow. At number 4, we got Fabian Ruiz. I already talked about PSG, but you got to talk more about PSG midfielder. He scored 2 goals in the first 25 minutes of this match to give Madrid a Mike Tyson-esque upper punch and send them home packing with 0 titles on the season and advances PSG to now their 4th major championship with an opportunity to sweep and go 4 for 4. And finally, finishing it off, we got Summer League coming up, but the California Classic always comes before that. And Dalton Connect. They were saying, can't connect. That was the nickname we were hearing after he went like 0 for 9 from 3-pointer. He was 5 for 20 in the field in the first 2 games. But you know what? He heard the noise and he said, I'm going to lock in right now. So in the 4th quarter of a tightly knit game between the San Antonio Spurs and the Los Angeles Lakers, Dalton Connect scored 15 points, 4 3-pointers made to lead the Lakers to an 89-88 victory versus the San Antonio Spurs. And he finished with 25 points himself in the game. Well, that's been your Winner's Circle starting 5 of the week here on the Reynolds Sports Report. And like I said, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Don't forget about the other shows that we got You got the Misfits. You got Lamb Chop Show. You got, the Mikkel Matthews Show. You got the Professional Haters Basketball Association. We're just trying to do great things. We're trying to bring you content every day, whatever it may be, fun and energetic stuff. But like I said, with the Winner's Circle starting 5, if you guys ever have players you want to spotlight or someone in the back of your mind that you said, that guy really made a contribution, doesn't always have to be goals, doesn't always have to be buckets. You can always contribute in other ways. Remember that. But that has been the Reynolds Sports Report here. And remember, the NFL season, less than 2 months away. But I've been Jude Reynolds Ocanas here on a beautiful Wednesday afternoon. I hope all of you guys have a great rest of your Wednesday night, and I'll see you around the corner next week. Enjoy and stay safe.